Hello there, I'm Train Man. If you don't mind, I'd like to spend the next few minutes of your time gushing about Ava like the boomer with rose-tinted glasses that I am. For those of you who have zero idea what I'm talking about, Alliance of Valiant Arms, or Ava for short, is a free-to-play FPS, which is technically 15 years old, about the same age as Team Fortress 2. If you were like me and played free-to-play FPS games growing up as a kid, you likely have either seen or heard of Ava at some point, alongside other names back in the day such as Crossfire, Combat Arms, Blacklight Retribution, Warrock, Battlefield Heroes, you get the idea. In a nutshell, Ava is an old-school FPS, but that doesn't mean there's no competitive community present. Fun fact for the esports nerds, Skadoodle played Ava before he moved on to CSGO, and he and his team won IESF 2010 back in the day. There's no kill streaks, there's no parkour or advanced movement mechanics, there's no character abilities, there's no weapon economy, and there's no spray pattern to learn for the vast majority of weapons. Ava is a significantly easier game to pick up and learn compared to Counter-Strike. But that isn't to say that every weapon in the game is a complete snooze fest. For example, although it's true that sniping in Ava plays and feels completely different from Counter-Strike, Ava does still contain some weapons which require the player to learn and master their recoil in order to use them effectively, such as the fan-favorite Para. But otherwise, it's just you and your gun, which completely depends on what class you are playing. The pointman utilizes SMGs and shotguns, the rifleman utilizes assault rifles, and the sniper is pretty self-explanatory. Otherwise, Ava contains the typical plant-the-bomb mode that you're very much used to from Counter-Strike and other FPS games, as well as other modes such as Escort, where one team wins by escorting a tank to a specific point on the map within a certain amount of time, and the other team wins by preventing this from happening. Other game modes previously available, such as Free-for-All, Capture the Flag, Domination, and the fan-favorite Escape mode, are currently not available, since Ava is relaunching with baseline content and will be added in future patches. Those of you who have played Ava in the past, or are familiar with its very wacky history, will know and/or remember that Ava became a pay-to-win game when it was hosted by Area Games, which is why it lost players to begin with. The developers over at NeoWiz are very much aware of Ava's past and have adjusted the game accordingly. Pay-to-win content has been completely removed from Ava, and all weapon skins, which were once statistically better than the regular versions, have all been changed to only be cosmetic items, just like any weapon skin from CSGO. Monetization in Ava stems from simply buying premium currency to spend on loot boxes, which contain weapon skins, other items from the shop such as experience boosts, and from the brand new Battle Pass, which can be ignored if you do not enjoy spending money on a Battle Pass. But obviously, I am speaking all of this in a biased manner. Ava, for me, is a special game. Not just because it was the first game I ever reached 1,000 hours played on, but it was the game I quite literally grew up playing, from elementary all the way to high school. To say that I'm not fond of Ava is the understatement of the century, but of course, Ava is not a perfect game. Spelling mistakes are present throughout Ava. The point of view in-game can be wonky at times, cosmetic bugs are present, and of course the game is old. Ava is a 15-year-old game with practically a cult following and a load of content which hasn't even been re-added to the game yet, because NeoWiz are focused on getting the game up and polished first. But in this current day and age, where a lot of multiplayer shooters have a big learning curve, or are incredibly buggy, or are competitive to a ridiculous degree, to me, Ava stands out because it's the type of game you'd play if you were brand new to the FPS genre. That's sort of what I think is the beauty of Ava. There is a hidden layer of skill that opens up if you decide to play Ava in a more serious manner. But Ava doesn't force you to learn it if you're just a casual player. A casual player can pick up the game for an hour or two a day and have just as much fun as any competitive player would. Ava doesn't make you feel like you have to read guides and spend your own time learning how to play the game just to have a decent understanding of how everything works. Nor does it make you feel like you have to spend real-world money just to have fun. I find Ava fun because it focuses on being a game first and a product second. And that's something I feel that too many games lately have been getting wrong. Thank you for watching.